Good afternoon. Welcome to this virtual public information open house for the State Route 316 at Virgil, Langford, and Oconee connector projects, which are part of the State Route 316 Bundle 2 design build projects. These concepts are part of a series of proposed roadway improvements that will transform State Route 316 in Gwinnett, Barrow, and Oconee counties by improving mobility, reducing the frequency and severity of crashes, and enhancing traffic flow conditions on this critical vehicle and truck thoroughfare. I'm Kyle Collins of Georgia DOT Communications. I'll be your moderator for today's event. On behalf of Georgia DOT and the entire project team, thank you for joining us. The purpose of today's event is to provide you with an opportunity to learn more about the State Route 316 at Virgil, Langford, and Oconee connector projects, and ask questions of our designated subject matter experts. Keep in mind that the design concept for the corridor is not yet final, so all the materials you see today are subject to change. Let's begin. This is a 2-hour virtual open house. For everyone's benefit, we have a few ground rules to ensure we maximize your time and answer your questions accurately and thoughtfully. During today's session, you will be on mute. However, throughout this session, you can submit questions using the Microsoft Teams live Q&A feature. We urge you to keep your questions concise and specific to these projects. Also, please use appropriate language. After the presentation, we'll read your questions for the project team to respond to. Keep in mind that we may group similar questions together. Also, we will not repeat questions and answers until we have been through all questions. If we don't get to your question or the question involves a more detailed technical response than we can provide during this 2-hour time frame, don't worry. We'll respond within 3 business days. But for us to respond to you, it's important that you include your contact information. Please be sure to enter that information into the chat or if a member of the project team asks for it. If there are any elected officials joining us today, please send us your name and office in the chat for our records. I remind our viewers that all comments submitted today will be part of the official public record. Because this is a virtual open house, it's important that you're attached to a strong Wi-Fi or reliable wired connection. But if you get disconnected, don't worry about it. You can always log back into the session. Another reminder, a recording of this virtual meeting will be posted on the web page listed on your screen by Monday, June 27th. Jot down this web page or scan the QR code to enter and explore the virtual meeting room platform for this virtual public information open house currently underway. Don't worry about memorizing these tips. We'll make sure to post them again later in this session. For convenience, we have set up closed captioning in multiple languages. To turn it on, simply navigate to the bottom right of your screen to the closed caption icon. Click it to turn captions on and off. To change the language, click the gear icon next to it and select Captions/Subtitles to choose a language. For now, we will start a pre-recorded video presentation featuring Achor Njoku, the project manager for State Route 316 at Virgil Langford Road and Oconee connector projects. Achor's presentation will provide an overview and give you a few suggestions on how to navigate the virtual open house site, as well as submit the ever important official comments. Achor?
Hello, welcome to the virtual presentation, question and answer session for the State Route 316 Bundle 2 design build projects for State Route 316 at Virgil Langford Road and State Route 316 at Oconee Connector, all in Oconee County. My name is Ihan Achor, also known as Achor Njoku, and I am the project manager for these 2 roadway improvement projects. During this pre-recorded presentation, I will provide key project information for these 2 projects prior to our question and answer session with our subject matter experts. During this presentation, you can go ahead and submit questions at any time using the Microsoft Teams live Q&A chat box. Thank you for joining us today. Now let's get started. State Route 316 is a primary east-west corridor in northeast Georgia that connects Greater Atlanta and the Athens metropolitan area. The 2 proposed Georgia DOT improvement projects we are going to discuss today are part of a series of projects along the State Route 316 from State Route 20 at Gwinnett County to State Route 10 in Oconee County. These projects will upgrade sections of State Route 316 to more of a free-flow facility, which may provide a safer travel experience and address some of the challenges along this corridor, particularly high crash rates and congestion. Our focus today will be at State Route 316 at Virgil Langford Road and State Route 316 at Oconee Connector. On State Route 316 at Virgil Langford Road, we propose to remove the existing at-grade access and construct a grade separation or bridge at State Route 8, State Route 316, US 29, and Virgil Langford Road intersection. On State Route 316 at Oconee Connector, we propose to remove the existing signalized at-grade intersection at State Route 8, State Route 316, US 29, and Oconee Connector, and construct a grade-separated, fully directional, partial cloverleaf interchange. These two projects in Oconee County are just west of Athens. The overall project length is 1.5 miles. This slide includes the proposed conceptual design or layout for the Virgil Langford Road over State Route 316. This is a preliminary layout and subject to change. We call this layout the preferred alternative as it best balances the needs of the project corridor with potential impacts such as property and environmental. I won't go into the specifics of everything illustrated here. However, the layout shows existing features as well as the proposed shifted alignment and the new bridge over State Route 316. This project will greatly improve connectivity to the medical businesses located at the northern side of Virgil Langford Road. We encourage you to view the alternative on the project website located at the virtual meeting room. A link and QR code are included on this slide. Within the virtual meeting room, you will find more information about the proposed layout, typical sections, and a visualization video which offers an aerial perspective of the project. You may also use the question and answer session after the presentation to ask questions about the proposed concept design. Now, this slide shows the proposed concept layout for the State Route 316 at Oconee Connector interchange. Like I mentioned in the previous slide, this layout is preliminary and subject to change. This preferred alternative minimizes impacts to property and environmental resources. Construction for this project will be staged in order to always maintain two open lanes in each direction on the Oconee Connector. Again, this concept display can be found in the virtual meeting room on the project website. I encourage you to use the question and answer session after the presentation as an opportunity to ask any question about the design to our subject matter experts. For the State Route 316 at Oconee Connector project, there is a potential need for a detour during construction. This detour will affect the eastbound State Route 316 traffic wanting to access Oconee Connector. If the design-build partner chooses to implement the detour, they will have up to 45 days to complete the work needed during the set detour duration. According to the map, eastbound 316 traffic will need to exit at Jimmy Daniel Road and head south. Depending on the direction needed to travel on Oconee Connector, motorists will take either Virgil Langford Road to travel north or travel on Mars Hill Road to go south. As you can see, this potential detour will require that the State Route 316 at Virgil Langford Road project be completed prior to the implementation of this detour route. Now, having shared some information on the proposed improvement projects, let's focus on the existing conditions within the project limits of Virgil Langford Road. We provided a few statistics to help frame these primary challenges: increased traffic, increased incidents, and lack of connectivity. Virgil Langford serves 5,400 vehicles per day, with truck traffic representing 2% of the total volume. From 2016 to 2020, there were a total of 191 crashes at the vicinity of the project intersection. By removing the existing intersection, the expectation is that crash rates will be reduced. Currently, Virgil Langford Road is two separate roads divided by State Route 316. This creates a connectivity issue to important destinations and impacts response times for Oconee County first responders. If we choose not to build this project, the two separate existing intersections for Virgil Langford Road will continue to diminish connectivity and mobility. For the second of the two projects, we will examine the existing conditions and the challenges they create, focusing on traffic volumes, incidents, and increased congestion. The Oconee Connector serves 26,500 vehicles daily, with 6% truck traffic. From 2016 to 2020, there were 269 crashes occurring in the vicinity of the existing intersection, with speed often as contributing factor. Finally, congestion is a challenge. We measure traffic congestion using what is called level of service, or LOS. Level of service describes the operational conditions of a roadway based on factors such as speed, travel time, maneuverability, delay, and safety. Level of service is designated with a letter from A to F. Level of service A represents the best operational condition, and F represents the worst. The existing level of service for SR 316 at Oconee Connector intersection is an E in both the AM and PM peak travel times. Level of service E indicates traffic is operating at near capacity with little or no room for drivers to maneuver between lanes. Traffic volumes are expected to continue to increase along the routes. If we do not improve this intersection, you will have what we call the no-build condition, and it's expected to worsen in future years. By moving forward with this project, we anticipate the level of service B in both the AM and PM peak travel times in the open to traffic here at the new intersections. Let's take a moment to discuss the benefits of these projects. First, we will look at Virgil Langford Road grade separation. We anticipate moving forward with this project will improve connectivity and mobility for motorists, and that this project will result in improved traffic conditions. Continuing with the discussion of project benefits, the State Route 316 at the Oconee Connector project will improve mobility, reduce the potential severity and frequency of crashes, improve traffic flow, as previously mentioned. The benefits of both projects are in line with the goals to improve State Route 316 as a key transportation facility for this region. This is the proposed schedule for both projects. We started the environmental process in 2021, and it will continue until 2023. We are currently conducting a virtual public information open house, which includes the virtual event you are participating in today. In 2023, we will select a design build team, and we anticipate construction starting in 2024. We will continue to provide regular updates and communication to stakeholders and the public throughout the duration of the project. It is important to note that these two projects will be packaged together as a bundle with State Route 316 at Jimmy Daniels Road for procurement, final design, and construction. Project schedule and dates are subject to change. As discussed earlier in this presentation, we encourage you to visit the project website and explore the informational displays in the interactive virtual meeting room. These displays provide a great deal of information about the proposed projects, from concept, layout, potential detour, information about the environmental process, anticipated right-of-way needs, and more. Once you've finished reviewing the materials, you'll also have the opportunity to provide comments on these projects. Georgia DOT encourages you to comment on any aspect of the project that have been discussed today, from the conceptual design to the environmental process. Robust feedback ensures that decisions are made in consideration of and to the benefit of public needs and preferences. To that end, We have provided several ways for you to comment as shown on the screen. The comment period is open until July 13, so you still have time to submit your comments on these projects. Once the comment period has ended, the project team will gather and log all comments and start developing a comment response letter. This letter will include detailed responses to your questions and comments. Once completed, the letter will be posted to the project web page, usually 30 days following the close of the comment period. This concludes this pre-recorded presentation. Stay up to date on these projects by visiting the project web page. And now, back to Kyle to begin the live Q&A portion of this event. Again, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Achor. We'll now use this opportunity to play the project visualization video. The animated rendering of the two projects offers a 3D aerial perspective. This video might help you position yourself within the project limits so you can better visualize the improvements. Keep in mind there are moments where the video will pause momentarily. This is to help with the orientation. The overall visualization video is approximately 90 seconds. This video can also be found in the virtual meeting room platform located on the State Route 316 website. Again, if you have any questions about this future look video and the concept, we encourage you to submit your questions using the Q&A feature, and we will read your question for a project team response. We will now show the visualization. Thank you. As mentioned, Georgia DOT has a dedicated website that showcases the concept design, typical sections, and other project materials. You can watch this video again and review other important project details at any time through this webpage. Next, we're going to enter the Q&A part of this event, so here are some reminders on how to participate. During this session, you will be on mute to reduce the risk of background noise. However, you can submit questions using the Microsoft Teams live Q&A feature. We urge you to keep your questions concise and specific to these projects. Also, please use appropriate language. Please note that we may group similar questions together. If we don't get to your question, or the question involves a more detailed technical response than we can provide during this time frame, do not worry. We will follow up using the contact information you provided. Keep in mind that if you use the option to ask a question anonymously and we don't get to your question during the session, then we won't have a way to contact you afterward. So please provide your name and contact information when submitting a question. Also, please note that all comments submitted will be part of the public record. Because this is a virtual public meeting, it's important that you're tethered to a strong Wi-Fi or reliable wired connection. But if you get disconnected, again, don't worry about it. You can always log back into the session. Now let's begin the Q&A. So I'm going to get our Q&A box queued up here so I can see what our first published questions are. And just to let everyone know too, I'm going to utilize some key subject matter experts and the project manager that you heard from earlier on the video, Achor. So Achor is going to tag team this with me to make sure we get your questions answered. So looks like we have a few coming in so far. So first one we have is, when is construction planned and how long will it take? Achor, I think I can grab this one just right off the bat. So currently a developer as part of the design build team would be selected in Q4 of 2023, construction then following in 2024, then expected completion in 2027. So roughly a 36-month anticipated time frame. Okay, after that, sure, we have how much will these projects cost? So how do we want to answer that question related to project investment? You're on mute, bud.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Carl, for this important question. Everybody wants to know how much the project will cost. For this question, let's go to our subject matter expert on this issue, Chris Edmondson, to help us. Chris?
Thank you, Achor. Yeah, we can help you out. So remember, this is two projects. The first project will be Virgil Langford Road grade separation over State Route 316. Currently, that project estimate is $1.9 million for construction. The second project is the Oconee connector interchange over 316. And that project current estimate is $77 million. Thank you for your question.
Awesome. Thanks for that clarification, Chris. So Chor, next up, looks like we have an environmental type question. Are noise barriers anticipated on this segment of State Route 316?
Thank you, Kyle. Everybody wants to know whether they'll be affected by noise on the freeway. So for this question, we refer to our subject matter expert, Amber, to help us answer this question. Amber Phillips, please.
Thank you, Chor. Yeah, so noise will be studied as part of this project. The way we study noise is we look at impacts in our actual proposed design. So we want to know what our sound levels going to be when we construct this project. That design work for our preliminary engineering is scheduled to begin in 2023. So at that point is when we will complete our noise studies. For all areas where we identify noise impacts, which we're looking at outdoor areas of frequent human use, and if those impacts are above the noise abatement criteria, or the NAC, as we call it. And for that, if you're a residential home, the NAC is 67 decibels, and we consider approaching as an impact of 66 decibels. And so as a result of that, we'll study to look at if you're impacted, if a noise wall is feasible to construct, meaning can we physically construct it and will it actually reduce sound levels? And then is it cost reasonable to do so? If it meets all those measures, we will also go out to the public and determine if the public desires the noise wall to be constructed. And so that's the process that we will go through to determine if noise walls will be constructed as part of this project. Thank you for the question.
Awesome. Thanks for that response, Amber. It looks like we got a little small lull in the questions coming in on the published section of our Q&A. So producers, do y'all mind pulling up slide 5? We just want to do a quick reminder on how folks can participate today and submit their questions. Thank you for pulling that up. Just as a reminder, for those that may have joined late, we're going to review a few ground rules to make sure we maximize your time and answer your questions accurately and thoughtfully. During this virtual Q&A session, you're going to be on mute, which will reduce the risk of background noise. However, you can submit questions using the Microsoft Teams live Q&A feature. We urge you to keep your questions concise and specific to these projects. Also, please use appropriate language. Please note that we may group similar questions together. If we don't get to your question, the question involves a more detailed technical response, a member of the project team may reply to you in the platform and request that you provide your contact information so we can follow up. And while I was reading the rules again, it looks like we did have another question come in, which is great. So a chore looks like just general impacts of the project, potentially some right-of-way coming up with this question. How many residents / businesses will be impacted by these projects? Will people be forced to move?
Thank you, Kyle. Obviously, people want to know whether they'll be impacted, people who own properties along the area. So for this particular question, we have a subject matter expert on right-of-way in the panel today, Phil, to help us answer this question. Phil, please.
Yes, Achor. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address the property impacts. Currently, if you visit the virtual room, you will find layouts that will indicate which properties are anticipated to be impacted with right-of-way acquisitions. Currently, on the Oconee connector, there are approximately 12 properties anticipated to be impacted at varying degrees, and on Virgil Langford, there is approximately 7 parcels to be impacted. And again, I would encourage you to visit the PIOH layouts to see if your property is one of those. As far as people being required to move, there is currently one anticipated displacement associated with the Virgil Langford Parkway. It is a business in the northeast corner of Virgil Langford and State Route 316. I would encourage, if that is a property that you're interested in, to visit the property acquisition section of the virtual room and visit the informational brochure that explains what happens when your property is needed for a transportation facility, and also the property acquisition process that is laid out there with a brief description of what occurs and how long those activities typically take. Again, there's approximately 19 total properties with the two projects that are anticipated to be impacted currently. Thank you for your question.
Thanks a lot for the right-of-way potential impact clarification there, Phil. And next up, we have a question from Jeff Hood at Chore. This may be one where we want to pull up the Virgil Langford concept to kind of talk through Jeff's question. But at Chore, he's asking, is the Virgil Langford project essentially a flyover bridge?
Thank you, Kyle. I will let our subject matter expert on this and the design, Chris Edmondson, to help us answer this question. Chris.
Thank you, Achor. Yeah, I'll be happy to answer the question. The answer is yes, essentially it is. And so I'm going to share my screen and share the layout of, and just kind of go over it real quick. So just to kind of orient you, you have State Route 316 moving left to right across your screen. And then the Virgil Langford Road is from left to right, also just at a slightly different angle. So currently you have an existing at-grade intersection for both sides of Virgil Langford, although they do not physically connect to one another. And so this project is a great separation where we will build a bridge to fly over 316 and the future ramps. And so the access to 316 at Virgil Langford will be removed. Hope this answers your question. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that clarification, Chris, related to the flyover question. So next one coming in, Chore, is from Jennifer. What is the distance between the Virgil Langford / Oconee connector intersections and the proposed exit / entrance ramp intersection on this side of the overpasses? These two intersections appear to be very close.
Thank you, Kyle. Yes, they are pretty close, but I will let our subject matter expert on this on design answer this question. So let's go back to Chris again. Chris?
Sure. I'll be happy to show. So right now, we estimate it's in the ballpark of 550 feet. Again, that's subject to change. So let me just share my screen and make sure I understand exactly where we're talking. So I've pulled up the layout that shows up on the GDOT website. So Virgil Langford Road ties into Oconee Connector, or intersects Oconee Connector to the north here. And then you're referring to the distance to this new proposed intersection where the westbound ramps will have access to and from. So this distance is roughly 550 feet. I hope this answers your question.
Thanks for that clarification there, Chris. So still waiting on a few more questions to come in. We've had some good ones so far, so y'all don't hesitate to put those questions in the chat box for us. And kind of while we have a little bit of time, Achor, you want to kind of explain, when people are reading and seeing design build and the benefits of it as it relates to these bundle projects, what are the benefits of these bundles and delivering them the way that we're planning to deliver them?
Thank you, Kyle. So in our design build world, we have a lot of benefits. First and foremost, we encourage innovation by having design build. Secondly, it helps us to fast track the building of these projects from the time of design to time of completion. And we're able to bundle a lot of projects together. So there are so many other various benefits that we have when we have a design build. And also we can expand on that. If you can let's have Milo please help us expand on that design build process and the benefits.
Thank you, Achor. I will. That was a good explanation of design build. I'll just add to that. Design build is a delivery mechanism that combines pre-construction and construction services into one contract. And by doing that, you gain some efficiencies by allowing the contractor to weigh in on the design early. That causes reduced costs and improves the design, and then also has benefits to the schedule also. So we will get some, we'll realize a lot of delivery benefits by bundling these two projects together in one design build contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Milo. Back to you, Kyle.
Thanks a lot, Achor and Marlo and everyone. That was Marlo Clower. She works hand in hand with Achor to deliver a lot of these projects as our program manager with Georgia DOT. So in that time talking about design build, we had another question come in. This one is about traffic counts, Achor. What is the expected traffic count utilizing the detour?
Thank you, Kyle, for that question. So for this very question, let's go back to our subject matter expert on design, Chris Edmondson. Let's have Chris help us answer this question. Chris?
Thanks, Achor. Right now the anticipated detour count has not been classified yet. That will be analyzed, and we will provide that information. Keep in mind, this is eastbound 316 traffic wishing to exit on southbound Oconee Connector. We do have some rough estimates that I will be able to provide you, but right now the open year, which is the closest one we have during construction, it's 21,900. So that would be split depending on which way the vehicle wants to travel. If they want to travel northbound on Oconee or southbound on Oconee. If they travel northbound on Oconee, they'll exit and go up through a completed Virgil Langford project. And if they want to go south, they'll exit and go to, exit at Jimmy Daniels and go to Mars Hill and access Oconee Connector from there. I hope this answers your question.
Thanks for that, Chris. And just a reminder, everything that Chris has pulled up and showcased today, these concept layouts of Virgil, Langford, and Oconee Connector, as well as the proposed map for that potential detour, are all on the online platform. So please visit that site. Those materials are there. They're easy to download for you to save and view anytime. So looks like our guy Jeff Hood has another question for us. Thank you, Jeff. Let's see. This one's related to trees in the median, Achor. It's odd that there are trees in the median area between the on-ramp to Highway 316 eastbound from the Oconee Connector. Is this common? Does it pose any type of hazard from a visual standpoint when trying to merge? So how would we like to answer that one, Achor?
Thank you for that observation. That shows a very keen observation in the area. So let's go back to our design subject matter expert, Chris, to help us answer this question. Chris?
Thanks, Achor. Yes. So again, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share the layout. And just kind of, so what you see on the website is our concept placed on top of aerial imagery that was picked up out there. So actually you see quite a few trees between all the ramps here. Once construction begins, the contractor will likely remove some or all of the trees, depending on what he needs to do to get in there to construct those ramps. None of the trees, there will be no signs or anything like that that will hinder or make being able to see oncoming traffic or anything like that, making merging activities difficult. Those will all be cleared, and there'll be more than adequate sight distance provided for anybody accessing those ramps. I hope that answers your question.
Thanks for that clarification, Chris, as it relates to the trees and design of this project. So it's like we have another one that came in, Achor. More than likely, it sounds like a detour question coming in. How long will traffic not be able to exit 316 east onto the Oconee Connector going south?
Thank you, Kyle. If you listen to my previous presentation, we had about 45 days. That's what we have for that particular duration of detour, 45 days. I hope that answers your question.
I appreciate that, Achor. And again, that's a proposal, and if we got to that point, once the project was underway, we'd make sure to do a lot of advanced notifications via our platforms with local stakeholders and you, the citizens, to make sure you knew what was coming and exactly what you needed to do during that time. So Jennifer has another question for us, Achor. What is the designation of the indicated median break would turn on to the Oconee Connector just before the Mars Hill intersection? So this is kind of looks like a design layout inquiry here, Achor.
That's correct, Kyle. Thank you for that question. So let's get back to our design subject matter expert, Chris Edmondson, to help us answer this question. Chris?
Thanks, Achor. Again, I'm going to share my screen. So if I understand the question correctly, I believe that we're referring to this median opening here, with Mars Hill being towards the bottom of the screen, which is south, and this being the Oconee Connector. So this median opening here, it matches with the existing median opening that's out there now, and it will be replaced in kind. This is it's no different than what's in the existing condition right now. Thank you. I hope this answered your question.
And Chris, we may want to leave that up for this next question from Jennifer.
Okay.
Okay, so Jennifer's follow-up question is, what was the idea behind making the Virgil Langford overpass separate from the entrance/exit ramps for Oconee Connector? These two roads and intersections appear to be overlapped.
All right, let's see. Well, so I think I understand. So the reason Virgil Langford is separated from 316 and from the ramps of the Oconee Connector, 316 is going to be a high-speed facility with limited access points of entrance and exit. The traffic volumes on Virgil Langford don't suggest that that's needed. And so we don't typically add an additional access to a interchange ramp, if you will. In other words, we wouldn't, and I'll switch over to the other layout. So Virgil Langford crosses here. There, right there, those are high-speed locations where vehicles are picking up speed to enter or dropping from their speed to slow down. Intersections for Virgil Langford there would just not be safe, and that's just not something that we do. The best idea here is to separate Virgil Langford from 316 and create a new connection going from one side of Virgil Langford to the other side over 316. I hope this answers your question.
Thanks for that clarification, Chris. So thanks for all the questions, Jennifer. We have another one from her. This is related to the detour, Achor. Could you provide more details on the proposed detour during Oconee Connector construction that would route traffic onto Mars Hill?
Thank you, Kyle. Chris, we might have to pull up that slide to show them the map of the detour. So let's go back to Chris, our subject matter expert on design, to help us answer this question.
Absolutely, sure. So hopefully everybody can see my screen, see this picture here. So this is our proposed map. So we call this a potential detour. It will be up to the contractor. He's got a couple of different options during the course of construction, but we think that he's more likely going to utilize this option. We're giving him a maximum of 45 days to implement the detour, finish the construction that he needs to do, and then open everything back up. So during the presentation that Chor mentioned, this is for 316 eastbound traffic wishing to exit at Oconee Connector, either northbound or southbound. So during those 45 days, if that's what the contractor chooses to implement, those people will need to exit at Jimmy Daniel Road, travel south on Jimmy Daniels, and again, depending on which direction on Oconee Connector they want to drive, they'll either turn left on Virgil Langford and to go up and over and reconnect to Oconee Connector on the north side, or if they want to go Oconee Connector south, they'll turn at Virgil Langford, then turn at Mars Hill, and then go to Oconee Connector. One obvious thing here, and I want to point out, this absolutely requires that the Virgil Langford grade separation project is complete to the point where they can open up traffic onto Virgil Langford. So again, it's designed to split the traffic up northbound and southbound. But again, it's a 45-day limit that he'll have to do. And again, it's an option that he'll have. We don't know for sure if he's going to implement it, but it is his choice. I hope this answers your question.
Thanks again for that clarification, Chris, related to the detour. So it looks like we have an additional question from Jennifer and Achor. This seems to be a a traffic and a signal timing type question that Jennifer's curious about. Give me 1 second here. With the new entrance/exit ramp intersections, or will the new entrance/exit ramps intersections be synced with existing county run intersection lights at Virgil, Langford, and Mars Hill?
Thank you, Carl, for that traffic question. We have a subject matter expert on traffic on panel with us today. His name is Paul. Paul, can you help us get to this question?
Yes, Achor, certainly can. And thanks for the question. I believe the overall goal would be to coordinate all of the traffic signals. This is now a statewide program that GDOT has with they call it SIGOPS, and it is not just state intersections. It also works very closely with local agencies to bring their owned and operated intersections into the fold, if you will, so that traffic signals, regardless who owns and operates and maintains them in small clusters such as this, all work together to facilitate traffic to the best that they can. Thank you.
Thanks for that clarification as it relates to traffic and the signals, Paul. Okay, looks like we got another question here. If already covered, please ignore this question. Thank you for that. Will this project's construction occur at the same time as Jimmy Daniel construction? So I'm going to let Achor expand on this a little bit, but yes, all these projects are part of one delivery bundle, so it's 3 together. But Achor, any other thing you want to clarify that as far as the timing of Jimmy Daniel and these two?
Thank you very much, Carl, for that question. Yes, yeah, that's why it's called a bundle. The bundle consists of Jimmy Daniels Road, Oconee Connector, and the Virgil Langford Road. So they will all be let in one design build contract. And they'll all be completed at the same time, simultaneously.
Thanks for that. Thank you for that, Achor. So yeah, like Achor and Marla said earlier, that's just to be more efficient, with money and resources, and to get things done faster, but also keeping safety in mind as it pertains to improving here and reducing crashes and keeping you flowing on 316 and the side roads. All right, Jeff Hood is back. Thank you, Jeff. Achor, he says, will there be any traffic lights at the Oconee connector where it meets Highway 316 when this project is complete?
Again, thank you, Kyle, for that traffic question. So let's go back to our SME on traffic, Paul, to help us answer this question.
Thank you again. And if I understand the question correctly, we're talking about the Oconee connector ramps. And yes, there is one projected at this would be the eastbound off ramp where it intersects the connector. And this would be a different type of intersection that has been out there in the past. It would be referred to as a continuous green T is the proposed design at this point in time. And this is an intersection that intersection type that through the evolution has provided significant cost savings to the project. It is a fairly innovative type intersection, made famous in Florida. If we travel to Florida, you'll see these in fairly frequent places. But it only impacts one particular direction to stop, to empty the ramp. The other direction travels parallel to traffic exiting the ramp. That's a significant delay savings. To clarify for the ramps at the new Virgil Langford overpass, we're looking at 2 traffic signals, 1 at each set of entrance and exit ramps there as well. Just in case that comes up later. And thanks for the question.
Thanks for that clarification, Paul. So Troy, looks like we got a question from our buddy Lee Becker. Lee, I appreciate you sending the emails. It's been nice to get to know you virtually, and thank you for your interest and sharing information on your blog as it pertains to 316. But Troy, Lee's question is, can you elaborate on the possible detour? How will that decision be made? When will citizens know about the decision on the detour?
You can see that, thank you, Carl. You can see that this detour is really coming back because people want to know how they'll be impacted during construction. So Chris, let's go back to the slide again and see if we can throw some more light on the detour for them. Okay.
Absolutely. Thanks, George. So yeah, anytime we implement a detour, or the contractor implements a detour for this kind of length of time, there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. There's coordination with the county, coordination with emergency services, and coordination with the public. So we will, or within the contract, the contractor will be given specific direction on his obligation to coordinate with the public. So he'll be given a length of time prior to implementing the detour to typically put out message board signs leading up to that detour for I'm sure at least a couple of weeks. I don't know the exact specifics of that time, but it rest assured you won't, if you drive that corridor regularly, it won't just open up one day and it's detoured. You will have prior knowledge. And again, we understand this is a heavily traveled corridor. There's actually a fire station located off of Virgil Langford. So making sure that the county and the EMS and the general public know exactly what's going on is priority to this project. I hope this answers your question.
Awesome. And Chris, just if you could just leave that up for a few more seconds. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just the next question. We just kind of want to clarify again and have that visual up for, it's another just kind of general detour. Want to make sure we get that answered. So the question was, what will the detour be and for how long? So basically, Chris has explained it a little bit before, but you see here on the visual of what your options are. You know, it could add 2, 3, or 4 minutes when it's implemented during construction, and that is for a 45-day period that we anticipate. And like Chris just talked about, we would make sure to alert you well in advance of those activities, plenty of PR, plenty of social media, plenty of traditional media and outreach, so you know what's happening and how you would have to travel during that time. So thank you for that question. All right. So Achor, we have another one that came in from Jennifer. Again, Jennifer, thank you for all the great info today and being tuned in. How much reduction will there be with the exit ramp from Oconee connector onto eastbound 316 towards Loop 10 compared to the current intersection in Loop 10?
Thank you, Kyle. So this sounds like a traffic question. So Paul, subject matter expert, can you please help us address this question?
Yes, I can. While the traffic forecast involves a lot of very detailed calculations and statistical analysis, just at a high level, it does not appear that there will be a significant reduction in the turning movement traffic in the turning movement volume expected from 316 at the Oconee connector towards the 10 loop. Some traffic from Virgil Langford Road attempting to enter State Route 316, both eastbound or westbound, could be rerouted. Having that additional interchange, it will pull some traffic. It's difficult to project in some instances. That's the fun part of traffic forecasting, is trying to figure out what works best, what works optimally for the individual driver. And we often just have to use good engineering judgment, look at a lot of statistics and turning percentages of what's out there today, and figure out what might be the best paths, and use those projections, and they are just projections, for designing the layout of this project. So we think there will be some. It may not be that significant. Thanks for the question.
Thanks, Paul. And Chor, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna kind of cue Chris up here to bring up just the overall look of that concept layout for this next question.
Okay, go ahead, Carl. Thank you.
So Chris, this is just a general question that came in. Can you explain the design layout? So if I've never seen GDOT plans before, don't know anything about transportation plans or what I'm looking at, kind of how do I interpret this when I go to the website? What am I looking for?
Sure. So let's start with the Oconee Connector project. And what I'm going to try to do first is just kind of orient everybody to make sure that they grasp what they're looking at. This being the aerial imagery, sometimes it's kind of tough to figure out what you're looking at. So left to right across the screen, there's a big 4-lane highway. That is State Route 316. Left would be towards Atlanta, and right would be going into Athens. If you can see in the upper right hand part of the screen, this is the SR10 loop. This is the existing SR10 interchange. So what the project proposes to do is to remove the existing intersection, the grade intersection with Oconee Connector and State Route 316, construct Oconee Connector on an elevated section on a bridge going up and over 316. Now, access to 316 is not going to be lost. It'll be just in the form of an interchange, so it's fully directional. So eastbound 316 traffic wanting to exit Oconee, they'll have a ramp that begins actually just to the west of Virgil Langford, and they will exit typically like a normal interchange, and you'll come to a traffic light. So either if you want to go north on Oconee, it's just a simple left turn, or right turn if you want to go south. 316 or Oconee Connector traffic coming northbound, wanting to go east on 316, they'll come north and just access this ramp. They will merge into 316 and continue on. If they wish to access the loop ramp, that loop ramp will be open and accessible, no problem whatsoever. Or if they wish to continue on 316 into I guess the more developed commercial area, they'll be able to do that. And just keep in mind, I'm going to zoom in here. So this eastbound movement now will be a continuous green light. It will not stop. It will be constantly going through. What Paul was describing a little bit earlier, this T intersection, what's going to happen is left turning traffic from SR10 loop who wants to go eastbound on 316, they will actually turn and they will merge into the existing median. So there's an existing grass median out there. I think everybody should be familiar with that. It's wide enough for us to construct this left turn or left turn merge lane. So they'll turn into the merge lane. They will be separated from the through traffic. They will accelerate to get up to speed, and then they will, over the course of this interchange, have time to merge into 316 going eastbound. Now let's talk about a little bit westbound. Westbound 316 traffic coming from inside the loop. Well, that light's still gonna be there. You'll be subject to stopping. Obviously if you get a red light. But once you want to go westbound and to go to Oconee Connector, you'll get into the right lane, the far right lane, and then now there's this ramp it's just what we call a partial cloverleaf. It's just a big loop that will hook back and then can tie you back into Oconee Connector. This will be north 316. So if you want to go south on Oconee Connector, you'll just stay in the right lane and proceed south. Or if you want to go north, you'll get into the left turn lane and go north. Now, Oconee Connector traffic wanting to take 316 westbound, Depending if you come up from the south, you'll cross over on the bridge, go over 316, and you'll come to this traffic light where you will take a left to take the ramp to go 316. Obviously, if you're coming in from the north on Oconee connector, you'll just come down and make a right turn at this intersection. There'll be a new right turn lane that'll take you right into it. So that, and then you'll accelerate down into 316. So and you'll go, and keep in mind you're gonna go under the Virgil Langford Bridge, and I'll pull up that project in just a second. So you'll have this. You'll travel westbound. Now, I hope everybody had the chance to visit the Jimmy Daniels interchange, which Jimmy Daniels is the next intersection to the west. So they will also have an interchange, and there will be constructed auxiliary lanes between the two interchanges to kind of help traffic move along and help merging movements, make them a little bit easier for everybody. So I hope that explains what we're doing for Oconee Connector. And now I'm going to jump to the Virgil Langford. And what you see is obviously we've turned off the Oconee Connector, and you just see the Virgil Langford portion of the project. So I think most people know, if you're being familiar with the area, Virgil Langford access is a right in, right out, depending on which side you're on. So you can't actually physically drive all the way across. So that access, when construction starts, that access will be immediately removed. And so the contractor will build the bridge, build the grade separation, and open it up to where now both ends of Virgil Langford Road are now connected. I know a lot of people would be concerned about access to the multiple medical facilities here in the northern part on Virgil Langford. So during construction, access to all those will be maintained at all times. There will not be any if you have doctor's appointments or anything like that, you will not lose those. Those access will be maintained. The difference is you might have to take a slightly different route than before. And until this road is open, you'll have to access it through the Oconee connector and go northbound. But rest assured, that's keeping access to those medical facilities is a high importance to us, and that's kind of one of the reasons that explains the design of Virgil Langford. You can kind of see we've shifted over the alignment a little bit towards the east. Let me zoom in tight here. So here's the existing portion of Virgil Langford, and now we're over to the east. And we did that because of the large amount of development of medical offices here. So if you think about a grade separation, that road is now elevated 25 or so feet above 316. So that's a lot of impacts if I were to build it right on top of the existing. So I'd have a large impact to this building and impacts to this building as well if we kept it on alignment. We've shifted it over to minimize the impacts to these businesses. Unfortunately, it does result into a significant impact, resulting in a displacement to this business located on the right side. But so there's good news, and I say I'm pretty happy with it. Is it provides a lot more connectivity across Virgil Langford and mobility across Virgil Langford, and also keep in mind we are extending the sidewalks along Virgil Langford as well. There's sidewalks on the north side. Those sidewalks will be constructed across the bridge and then tie back in where on the south end where the project ends. So I hope this is a pretty good synopsis of what's going on. If you do have any other questions, please feel free to ask. I'd be happy to explain. Thank you.
Thanks for that great breakdown, Chris. And I think you can see just based on his comments and knowledge of what's happening, there was a lot of care, a lot of time went into the development of what you see today to, like Chris said, increase safety, increase mobility for Virgil Langford Oconee connector and also the main highway of 316. So While you were running through that, Chris, we had another question come in from Jeff. So this is a chore. This is another detour related question, a little bit more in the weeds about that 45-day limit. Can you further define the 45-day limit for detouring traffic? Is this 45 calendar days, 45 business days, Monday through Friday? Also, are they allotted bad weather days that don't count against the 45-day allotment? So how would we like to answer that one, Ashore?
Thank you, Kyle. Chris, do you want to take a stab on this one again?
Sure, I could do that. So we've kind of already gone over the route. So let me just kind of get into a little bit more detail of why we were giving him 45 days and why we feel that's plenty of time to finish what he needs to finish. So what we've talked about is this eastbound to southbound or northbound Oconee, eastbound 316, excuse me, to Oconee connector being cut off. So as part of the project, the contractor's having to build this ramp here. Well, keep in mind, we're going during the course of construction, Oconee connector has it's 2 lanes of traffic in each direction. That will be maintained at all times. So if you look and see where, the new alignment for Oconee connector is shifted to the east, much like Virgil Langford. So it does create a bit of a problem here with finishing this ramp. If you visualize the fact that we're going up and over 316. So right now at this location, this is roughly 15 to 20 feet up above existing is the final condition. So you're thinking, well, how in the world can I drive Oconee connector with this ramp in the way? Well, you can't. So what he's going to have to do is construct as much of the ramp as possible, and then this last little bit during the detour, he's going to have 45 days to bring this up to grade, construct the roadway, and open it back up. At that point, Oconee connector, 4 lanes of Oconee connector, the bridge, and everything else, the new alignment will all be open to traffic. So at that point, the interchange is open. It's fully directional. But he's going to have 45 days to bring fill earthwork in and raise that grade. And that should, these contractors, they know what they're doing. We've seen them construct bridges in shorter time than that. In this case, this is not that difficult. This is just raising the grade up. So we feel like it's more than enough time, even factoring in weather, to be able to construct this and get the traffic back open to the new alignments and the new direction of travel. So I hope this answers your question. If not, ask some more detail and we'll try to help you out. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Did a good job of kind of explaining how all the work on these 2 projects work together. And I think you answered part of this question in that last explanation. We did have a follow-up that's kind of in line with what Jeff was talking about. So he says, please give the timing of Jimmy Daniel, Virgil, and Oconee connector projects. What has to be done totally or in part for one project to facilitate the other 2. So like we had talked about, and you'll see showcased on the website, Jimmy Daniel, Virgil Langford, and Oconee connector are one package of projects. So the same development team would be executing all of these. So coordination will not be a problem related to that. But Achor, anything we want to throw in there about Jimmy Daniel and how it interacts with Virgil Langford and Oconee connector?
Thank you, Kyle. I think you did a pretty good job answering the question. This is a package. It's a bundle. One design build team will be taking it up on if they win the project. So they will be pretty much coordinated among themselves. So we don't foresee any problem in delivering this project together in all 3 bundles, all 3 projects in one bundle. I hope that helps you answer the question.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Achor. And like I said, hopefully we got that kind of teaming up after Jeff's question related to the detour. So We're a little bit over an hour in now, everybody. So for those of you who may have joined us a little bit late, I'm actually going to ask the producers to pull up a project visualization video. It's basically a projected rendering in 3D that we're going to showcase that gives you an idea of what it's going to look like when things are complete for these two projects. So we're going to cue that up right now. And just a reminder too, this video is available on the project page, the Virtual Open House website. So please make sure you go in the virtual meeting room and check it out. So let's see it. Awesome. Thanks for showing that visual. Make sure you check that out at the virtual meeting room on the project page for State Route 316 improvements. So during that time, actually going to tag Marlo in here to help me work on this one. Is there any plan to deal with all of the Epps Bridge Road east of the connector? So again, is there any plan to deal with all of Epps Bridge Road east of the connector? Seems like a lot of traffic flowing into a congested area, Marlo.
Thank you, Kyle. That is a very good question. As has been described earlier about the continuous green T intersection. And so I think the answer to that question would benefit for a little more detail about that intersection from Chris. So Chris, can you provide a little more clarity? Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, Marlon, I'd be happy to. So the project limits, and I'm going to share my screen as that's just the easy thing to do. And go back to this. This is SR10 loop 316. So the issues, I think the question was related to some congestion issues on Epps Bridge on the east side or the inside of the SR10 loop. This project will not address any congestion problems there. It's the goal of this project is to construct or to transform, if you will, like the GDOT website says, transform 316 into a limited access, higher speed, higher mobility, better level service roadway. So Oconee Connector is essentially the last interchange as part of that effort. So once we get to the SR10 loop, that's kind of it as far as any improvements for this project. As far as anything in the future for Epps Bridge Road, there could be some additional projects, could be local. I would check with Oconee County officials to see if they have any future plans. But right now, there's no push to extend this project further than what we've shown here today. I hope this answers your question.
Awesome. And Chris, before you stop sharing, just leave that up. I think. sorry
No
about
problem. I
that.
should just leave it up the whole time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. The next question we had was from Lee again. He just needed some more clarification about the traffic lights at both of these intersections. So he asked if we'd call up the plans and just kind of break that down again. So I don't know if this, you may want to bring Paul in too, but just wanted to showcase the traffic signals.
Yeah, I think I can handle this real quick. So right now you've got an existing light here at the Oconee connector 316 intersection. You've got a light here at Mars Hill in Oconee. You've got a light here at Virgil Langford in Oconee, and then you've got a light here at the loop southbound exit ramp at 316. So obviously the light at Oconee connector at 316 is going away. We're separating that intersection. So with the new ramps, the tie-ins at Oconee connector, we zoom in. So we're showing a little traffic light as part of our layout. So new traffic light here at the eastbound 316 side, and then a new traffic light here on the westbound side. Those are all new. The existing one at Virgil Langford will remain, although it will be slightly modified because we are changing this lane from a right turn only to a through right that actually carries right down to the ramp. So that will get a slight modification. And then the signal here at Mars Hill and Oconee connector will not change at all. That will remain as is. Now, like Paul did say, though, there will be an effort to sync these, if you will, coordinate, with the timing as best as possible for these new signals and the existing ones. Now, the last signal that we're talking about is this one. Now, this one's getting changed significantly. Like I said, we're implementing a continuous green T where eastbound traffic will remain on the green light at all times, and that the left turning traffic from the SR10 loop going eastbound on 316 will merge into the median, separated from the through traffic. They'll be allowed to accelerate, and then as they go across the existing bridge, they'll have enough length to get up to speed and to merge over. Now, as like we say, the project ends here, so this light at the other side of the existing interchange will remain as is as well. So that is, as far as signals go, there's nothing on the Virgil Langford portion of the project for signals, but I think that covers all the existing and all the proposed within this footprint.
Right. And sorry to hammer you again, Chris, but I think we need to leave this up. We'll just keep the camera on you. I'm going to feed you a few more. This is a clarification from Jennifer as it relates to the connector coming on the 316 towards the loop. To rephrase my exit ramp question, the exit off Oconee connector on the 316 towards the loop appears to be much shorter for merging traffic than the current Oconee connector intersection. Is this correct?
Okay. Well, all right, let me zoom in tighter. So right now, if you're coming northbound on Oconee and you want to take the loop, there's a right turn that it's the start of that exit ramp, or that exit lane, if you will, that takes you to the SR10 loop ramp. So that one's going to be removed, obviously, because the intersection's gone, but it will, you see a slight taper here. And then, so this lane right here, this outside lane here, that's the lane that you'll need to get into to merge to the slightly reconstructed ramp to SR10 loop. So what will happen is traffic, let me make sure I get this right in my head. So eastbound traffic on this ramp coming down will have to essentially weave. So if they want to, if the two traffics, one on 316 and one on the ramp, depending on which way they want to go, they'll have to weave between each other to get into the through lane or get to the ramp. So that was kind of a concern for us, and that's what kind of necessitated the need for the continuous green T to give us enough length. So we have roughly 2,000 feet between where this lane merges here, or where the ramp merges into the far right lane for 316 here, to where they separate to go to the ramp to SR10 loop here. So that allows us a significant amount of distance. And keep in mind, the speed is going to be 45 miles an hour. So it's not, at this point, everything's kind of slowed down, because this is at the end of the high speed 316. This is where everything's kind of slowing down. So cars aren't traveling as fast, and they have enough time to weave and to merge as they need to get where they're going. I hope this answers your question.
If I can interject something, Chris.
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Paul.
One of the key fundamental differences, the length, when you consider the length of the ramp, the on-ramp itself, is the same or just ever so slightly longer. The primary difference is going to be where traffic currently turns in at the right in, right out. You're at a stop or nearly at a stop. At the end of this entrance ramp, you will be at a much better speed to blend with traffic, weave over if necessary, so that the safety aspect of it is greatly enhanced, while when you still consider the length of the on-ramp, total length between the existing intersection and the exit ramp today is fairly close to the same.
Yep.
Awesome, Chris, and I got one more for you. So we're going to throw you back up on the screen. So thank you for being a trooper. Appreciate all your info.
Hey, that's my job, baby.
Yeah, let's keep sharing that concept. Will there be a continuous third lane from the Jimmy Daniel intersection to the Oconee connector?
So, yeah, I think I understand the question. A continuous third lane. There will be from ramp to ramp. I wish we had the Jimmy Daniels interchange. So the Jimmy Daniels interchange ramp ends roughly just outside of our picture, and that ramp merges directly into an auxiliary lane. And it's the same for eastbound and westbound. So I'm going to zoom in on the westbound ramp. So we're showing 3 separate lanes here. So this outside lane comes right out of our proposed ramp for Oconee connector for westbound. So this third lane starts here and carries all the way over to the Jimmy Daniels exit ramp, westbound exit ramp, and that's where it will stop. It just goes into each ramp for each direction. So it's basically a third lane from interchange to interchange, ramp to ramp, if that makes sense. And the reason for that is they are relatively close together, and the traffic, having that third lane, it makes it a lot easier to merge in and merge out as necessary. So I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Chris. We're going to give you a break for a little bit. So another question from Jennifer Achor. I think I may have a general answer to this, and please fill in. Is there any way to see all 3 construction sites, Jimmy Daniel, Virgil Langford, Oconee connector, overlapped onto each other on one map? So I think she's asking for like a big overall concept look with all 3 of these. How we want to clarify that, Achor?
Yeah, we can make that available, but we don't have that available right now on this this meeting to show you. But it's something that we can make available if in a future date. Hope that helps answer the question.
Appreciate that, Achor. And Jennifer, thank you for your interest today. It's been a big help having you put the questions in during the Q&A. So Achor, it's another one here related to speed limit. Would the speed limit change starting at Jimmy Daniel into the Loop 10 interchange to mediate traffic flow?
Thank you, Al. Thank you, Cal, for that question. Let's have a traffic SME help us with that question. Paul.
Sorry. Thanks for the question about roundabouts. Regarding the differences between one project and the other, each intersection actually undergoes an evaluation. It's called an intersection control evaluation, which scores different intersection types, roundabouts, traffic signals, other forms of innovative intersections against each other to determine which intersection best serves the project, either in a benefit cost type standpoint, safety improvement standpoint, and other factors.
I think the question was for speed limit, right?
Oh, speed limits. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong line.
Paul, I can help you out. I can help you out. We can go back to our layouts. That would be the easiest thing to do.
All right.
Let's do that. So the question, if I'm correct, is what will happen to the posted speed limits between the projects and then all the way carrying out to the loop. So right now, SR 316 is 55 miles an hour through the Oconee connector, and then once you get to the east of that, it transitions to 45. So what the project will do is, because it's transforming again to something that moves traffic a lot better and carries more traffic, so it'll be 65 miles an hour through the Jimmy Daniels interchange on 316. And then as you approach the Oconee connector interchange, we start to slow down because, again, everything's kind of going back to existing once you get over to the SR10 loop. So 65 miles an hour to the west. And then as you approach roughly around the proposed bridge at Virgil Langford, it's going to transition to 55. And then at that point, you'll go underneath the bridge, and then the median, actually, I'm going to zoom in tight here. So the median changes. So this side, the west of everything, it's a grass median. So we have and it's a little bit larger, so we can travel at higher speeds. But because the median transitions to a raised median, that requires a slower speed. So once we get roughly in the same spot as it is now, we'll be back to 45 miles an hour. Just like it is right now. So 65 to 55, and then 55 to 45 on 316. I hope this answers your question.
Thanks for that clarification, Chris. So, Chor, we have a question about construction duration coming in here as it relates to Virgil Langford. So how long will Virgil across 316 take to construct, Chor?
Thank you, Kyle. Chris, can you help us with that answer?
Yeah, I absolutely can, and I don't necessarily need the layout for that, but so like we talked about, the detour is going to be implemented. We got to have the Virgil Langford Bridge has to be constructed, and the road has to be constructed and be open. So the Virgil Langford portion will roughly take 12 to 18 months using conventional bridge construction methods, and that includes the roadway as well to elevate it up and over 316. So 12 to 18 months should be plenty of time for them to build it and to get it open. Keep in mind, though, that while 316, or excuse me, the Virgil Langford project is being built, other portions of Oconee Connector and Jimmy Daniels will most likely be being built at the same time. I do not expect that the contractor will just build one at a time. He will do what he can to get this done in a timely manner. So, but yeah, the Virgil Langford project should be done in 12 to 18 months. That's what we expect. Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Thanks for that, Chris. Next question here, Chor, is related to just the general design, comparing these two projects to what we have presented on Jimmy Daniel, which again, all these are connected. There are no roundabouts in these two projects, while there is roundabouts with Jimmy Daniel. Design reasons, or more available land and existing businesses. So what goes into those decisions, Achor?
Thank you, Kyle, for that question. So a couple of analysis goes into that decision to be made during design. So, but I'm going to leave it to our design expert, subject matter expert, to help us with that question. Chris, you can.
Achor, this, I will say this, and I'll probably hand this off to Paul a little bit, but okay. The question, the comment was correct. Jimmy Daniels, they are looking at roundabouts at their intersections. I can tell you that we looked at roundabouts throughout this project footprint for both of them. It was concluded that they're not needed. But I'm going to, Paul, if you're available, if you could expand on the reasons why and kind of the process that we run through to come up with that decision, that'd be a big help.
Sure. Happy to do that. The GDOT implemented a policy several years ago now that takes a look at every intersection on every project and evaluates the type of control that's involved, and control types, that's using stop signs, it's using traffic signals, or other types of intersections, roundabouts, continuous flow, and some of the other things that we've talked about today. This process looks at a variety of factors, including cost, right-of-way impacts, operational savings from reductions of delay, improved speeds, enhancements to safety, and even local support. So there's a variety of factors that are evaluated in this matrix, and each type of intersection is boiled down to a bottom line score. And in this case, the traffic signals scored the best.
Thanks for those clarifications, Chris and Paul, as it relates to roundabouts versus no roundabouts as currently shown for these projects. So our buddy Jeff Hood had another question. Thank you, Jeff. This is more of a design layout again from Oconee Connector 316 and that Loop 10 that we've showcased a few times at Chore. Traffic currently turning east off Oconee Connector onto Highway 316 and heading towards the Loop is composed of 3 lanes. Are we losing that 3rd lane on 316 from the connector interchange to State Route 10?
Yeah, so this is another design question. I know we've burdened Chris a lot, but Chris, I'm going to let you take on this one. And if you feel you need to add, put Paul online, he can also add to that question, to the answer. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Achor. Yeah, I think I understand the question, and I'm going to go back to the layout because it's a great tool. So I think the question was if traffic coming on Oconee Connector wishing to go eastbound on 316, right now, and all the way and eastbound up to the Loop, there are 3 lanes, and that is correct. Like we talked about before, that right turn movement coming from Oconee northbound to 316 eastbound does start a 3rd lane that goes all the way to the loop ramp, the SR10 loop ramp exit, or I guess I'd call it the southbound exit. So what's happening is because we're eliminating the at-grade intersection, we're creating this ramp. We will still have 3 lanes extending all the way to the Loop intersection. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit tighter here. And like we talked about that, and I'm going to relate it to how I've traveled on this road before, going out to Athens. Usually we access the Loop, and so that's still going to be done with a 3rd lane. So this you can see right here, there's a bit of, it's 2 lanes here, and it tapers out to add a 3rd lane. So this 3rd lane will be the lane that will take you to that SR10 loop ramp. So I'm just going to pan across a little bit. Now here's the Oconee Connector ramp You will drive down, you will merge into that third lane. See how it zoom in a little tighter. So this traffic will merge into that lane as well. So what will have to happen is if the ramp traffic wants to go and take 316 all the way into town, they will need to weave or merge. Once they merged into that right lane, that far third right lane, they will need to weave over into the two inside lanes to go straight. Whereas the traffic that's already entered into the lane to access that loop ramp, they're just going to stay where they're at. They have no reason to get over to access that ramp. So that, if you can see on the screen, this ramp flows right, or this lane, excuse me, flows right into that ramp, and then it'll continue on much like it's right now. The only difference now is we're just adding this ramp from Oconee connector. So yeah, you'll still have 3 lanes. It's just a little bit different configuration than what was before. Yeah, I hope this answers your question.
Thank you, Chris, for clarifying how everything interacts with 316, the loop, Oconee connector versus what's out there currently. Just wanted to read this one off, Chor and team. This wasn't really a question, it was a comment, and it was a positive one. So it said, please thank all the staff for taking the time to do these meetings. I hope we can have status meeting when construction starts. So the best way, once we get down the line to selecting that developer, and like we talked about late 2023 and things getting underway in 2024 on this bundle, is to make sure you stay tuned into that website. There's a project hotline. Make sure you follow us on social media accounts. There's dedicated feeds, not only statewide, but also GDOT Northeast on Facebook and Twitter, as well as your local media outlets will get our updates to make sure y'all know exactly what's happening in this Oconee County area. So it looks like we may have a little bit of slowdown in the comments. I was just going to ask the producer team to sort of bring up that slide 5 just to reorient people that may have just joined us on how they can submit their comments. We'll get this queued up for y'all just to kind of break down that process. Give me 1 second. Okay, again, in case some of y'all have joined us late, we're going to review a few ground rules to make sure that we answer your questions accurately and thoughtfully. So during this Q&A session, you're going to be on mute. Again, if you just joined us or are wondering why you couldn't turn your mic on, that's to reduce the risk of background noise. You can submit questions using the Microsoft Teams live Q&A feature. So we urge you to keep those questions concise and specific to these projects, Virgil Langford, 316, Jimmy Daniel, and also please use appropriate language. A reminder too that the comments you submit become part of the official public record. We also may group similar questions together. If we don't get to your question or it involves a more detailed technical type response, a member of the project team may reply to you in the platform and request that you provide your contact information so we can follow up. So just wanted to remind y'all about that. And again, have about 22 more minutes to get some questions in. So while we're waiting on that, producer team, how about let's queue up a chores video again. That's the project presentation. So we're going to run this, and this is a chore who's our project manager with the Office of Alternative Delivery, breaking down the benefits, the plans, the timing, how to navigate that virtual website. So let's let that roll, the chore.
Hello, welcome to the virtual presentation, question and answer session for the State Route 316 Bundle 2 Design Build projects for State Route 316 at Virgil Langford Road and State Route 316 at Oconee Connector, all in Oconee County. My name is Ihan Acho, also known as Acho Njaku, and I am the project manager for these 2 roadway improvement projects. During this pre-recorded presentation, I will provide key project information for these 2 projects prior to our question and answer session with our subject matter experts. During this presentation, you can go ahead and submit questions at any time using the Microsoft Teams live Q&A chat box. Thank you for joining us today. Now let's get started. State Route 316 is a primary east-west corridor in northeast Georgia that connects Greater Atlanta and the Athens metropolitan area. The two proposed Georgia DOT improvement projects we are going to discuss today are part of a series of projects along the State Route 316 from State Route 20 at Gwinnett County to State Route 10 in Oconee County. These projects will upgrade sections of State Route 316 to more of a free-flow facility, which may provide a safer travel experience and address some of the challenges along this corridor, particularly high crash rates and congestion. Our focus today will be at State Route 316 at Virgil Langford Road and State Route 316 at Oconee Connector. On State Route 316 at Virgil Langford Road, we propose to remove the existing at-grade access and construct a grade separation or bridge at State Route 8, State Route 316, US 29, and Virgil Langford Road intersection. On State Route 316 at Oconee Connector, we propose to remove the existing signalized at-grade intersection at State Route 8, State Route 316, US 29, and Oconee Connector, and construct a grade-separated, fully directional, partial cloverleaf interchange. These two projects in Oconee County are just west of Athens. The overall project length is 1.5 miles. This slide includes the proposed conceptual design or layout for the Virgil Langford Road over State Route 316. This is a preliminary layout and subject to change. We call this layout the preferred alternative as it best balances the needs of the project corridor with potential impacts such as property and environmental. I won't go into the specifics of everything illustrated here. However, the layout shows existing features as well as the proposed shifted alignment and the new bridge over State Route 316. This project will greatly improve connectivity to the medical businesses located at the northern side of Virgil Langford Road. We encourage you to view the alternative on the project website located at the virtual meeting room. A link and QR code are included on this slide. Within the virtual meeting room, you will find more information about the proposed layout, typical sections, and the visualization video, which offers an aerial perspective of the project. You may also use the question and answer session after the presentation to ask questions about the proposed concept design. Now, this slide shows the proposed concept layout for the State Route 316 at Oconee Connector interchange. Like I mentioned in the previous slide, this layout is preliminary and subject to change. This preferred alternative minimizes impacts to property and environmental resources. Construction for this project will be staged in order to always maintain two open lanes in each direction on the Oconee Connector. Again, this concept display can be found in the virtual meeting room on the project website. I encourage you to use the question and answer session after the presentation as an opportunity to ask any question about the design to our subject matter experts. For the State Route 316 at Oconee Connector project, there is a potential need for a detour during construction. This detour will affect the eastbound State Route 316 traffic wanting to access Oconee Connector. If the design-build partner chooses to implement the detour, they will have up to 45 days to complete the work needed during the set detour duration. According to the map, eastbound 316 traffic will need to exit at Jimmy Daniel Road and head south. Depending on the direction needed to travel on Oconee Connector, motorists will take either Virgil Langford Road to travel north or travel on Mars Hill Road to go south. As you can see, this potential detour will require that the State Route 316 at Virgil Langford Road project be completed prior to the implementation of this detour route. Now, having shared some information on the proposed improvement projects, let's focus on the existing conditions within the project limits of Virgil Langford Road. We provided a few statistics to help frame these primary challenges: increased traffic, increased incidents, and lack of connectivity. Virgil Langford serves 5,400 vehicles per day, with truck traffic representing 2% of the total volume. From 2016 to 2020, there were a total of 191 crashes at the vicinity of the project intersection. By removing the existing intersection, the expectation is that crash rates will be reduced. Currently, Virgil Langford Road is two separate roads divided by State Route 316. This creates a connectivity issue to important destinations and impacts response times for Oconee County first responders. If we choose not to build this project, the two separate existing intersections for Virgil Langford Road will continue to diminish connectivity and mobility. For the second of the two projects, we'll examine the existing conditions and the challenges they create, focusing on traffic volumes, incidents, and increased congestion. The Oconee Connector serves 26,500 vehicles daily, with 6% truck traffic. From 2016 to 2020, there were 269 crashes occurring in the vicinity of the existing intersection, with speed often as contributing factor. Finally, congestion is a challenge. We measure traffic congestion using what is called level of service, or LOS. Level of service describes the operational conditions of a roadway based on factors such as speed, travel time, maneuverability, delay, and safety. Level of service is designated with a letter from A to F. Level of service A represents the best operational condition, and F represents the worst. The existing level of service for SR 316 at Oconee Connector intersection is an E in both the AM and PM peak travel times. Level of service E indicates traffic is operating at near capacity with little or no room for drivers to maneuver between lanes. Traffic volumes are expected to continue to increase along the routes. If we do not improve this intersection, you will have what we call the no-build condition, and it's expected to worsen in future years. By moving forward with this project, we anticipate the level of service B in both the AM and PM peak travel times in the open to traffic here at the new intersections. Let's take a moment to discuss the benefits of these projects. First, we will look at Virgil Langford Road grade separation. We anticipate moving forward with this project will improve connectivity and mobility for motorists, and that this project will result in improved traffic conditions. Continuing with the discussion of project benefits, the State Route 316 at the Oconee Connector project will improve mobility, reduce the potential severity and frequency of crashes, improve traffic flow, as previously mentioned. The benefits of both projects are in line with the goals to improve State Route 316 as a key transportation facility for this region. This is the proposed schedule for both projects. We started the environmental process in 2021, and it will continue until 2023. We are currently conducting a virtual public information open house, which includes the virtual event you are participating in today. In 2023, we will select a design build team, and we anticipate construction starting in 2024. We will continue to provide regular updates and communication to stakeholders and the public throughout the duration of the project. It is important to note that these two projects will be packaged together as a bundle with State Route 316 at Jimmy Daniels Road for procurement, final design, and construction. Project schedule and dates are subject to change. As discussed earlier in this presentation, we encourage you to visit the project website and explore the informational displays in the interactive virtual meeting room. These displays provide a great deal of information about the proposed projects, from concept layout, potential detour, information about the environmental process, anticipated right-of-way needs, and more. Once you've finished reviewing the materials, you'll also have the opportunity to provide comments on these projects. Georgia DOT encourages you to comment on any aspect of the project that have been discussed today, from the conceptual design to the environmental process. Robust feedback ensures that decisions are made in consideration of and to the benefit of public needs and preferences. To that end, we have provided several ways for you to comment as shown on the screen. The comment period is open until July 13, so you still have time to submit your comments on these projects. Once the comment period has ended, the project team will gather and log all comments and start developing a comment response letter. This letter will include detailed responses to your questions and comments. Once completed, the letter will be posted to the project web page, usually 30 days following the close of the comment period. This concludes this pre-recorded presentation. Stay up to date on these projects by visiting the project web page. And now, back to Kyle to begin the live Q&A portion of this event. Again, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for that video, Achor. Very informative on why we're here today, and also a big reminder on how to submit your comments on that Transforming State Route 316 website. So very important. Make sure you go to the comment section there. So during that time, we had a question come in from Ann Kohler. Achor, is the auxiliary lane that goes west from Virgil Langford area towards Jimmy Daniel going to impact backyards of the Jennings Mill properties? I'm guessing this is the third lane that was talked about during the Jimmy Daniels discussion last week. So we have a right-of-way question here, Achor.
Thank you, Kyle. So for this question, let's have Phil right-of-way expert on this panel with us today to answer this question for us. Phil, can you please?
Sure. Thank you very much for the opportunity. As you've seen with the displays that have been shared today, the Virgil Langford and the Oconee connector right-of-way impacts do not anticipate to extend as far west as the Jennings Mill neighborhood, the residential lots that back up to 316. However, I would encourage you to visit the Jimmy Daniels virtual page, because there is some layouts available on that do indicate potential impacts in the Jennings Mill residential lots that back up there on 316. So the projects that we're talking on today do not anticipate their acquisitions to extend that far west, but there are some potential impacts associated with Jimmy Daniels. So please visit that website to get a better understanding of those. Thank you.
And Phil, we're going to kind of keep the camera on you while you're hot here. We have another potential property and right-of-way question. When and how will the DOT contact property owners directly about needing to take part of their property for right-of-way or construction as part of the new lanes?
Sure, Kyle, thank you. The right-of-way acquisition is currently anticipated to start for these two projects in 2023 as we further develop the design, as we further move through the environmental process, get your feedbacks and so forth from meetings such as this. We'll be entering into the right-of-way acquisition in 2023. Once we do enter those phases, we will have right-of-way representatives for the department reach out directly to the impacted property owners. They may do this via an informational letter that will be sent based on property ownership records. They may do it via email addresses if they're available, or phone calls if they're available, but there will be individual reach touch points from a right-of-way representative that will identify themselves as representing GDOT for the purposes of this project, and will reach out directly to those impacted property owners. Thank you, Kyle.
Awesome. Thanks for clarifying that on those back-to-back right-of-way questions, Phil. And this one is from Jennifer. It's a comment. Thank you so much for answering my questions as well as offering to create a map with all 3 construction projects. I know your time is valuable. This info session has been so helpful to me and my neighbors who live near Mars Hill. I look forward to hearing more information as the project nears its starting date. So Jennifer, thank you for tuning in, and sounds like you're going to share the information with those close to you, and make sure you let them know that website has some great material. So we always appreciate you keeping us on our toes during this meeting, and glad it was beneficial to you. So next one seems kind of like more of a comment here, but this is Lee Becker again. Thank you, Lee. He says, to clarify, this was Jeff's question about the need for 45 days. He referred to the ramp and the need to build up the flyover for the connector is the reason for the 45 days, but he was not showing the plans. Lee, I think this may have just been earlier when Chris was kind of juggling screens, and he may have not had those particular plans up. But just to reiterate again, Chor, if it's okay with you, Chris, could you just pull up the detour map again and share that screen just so we can clarify that at the end here?
Sure, let me pull that one up right here. Okay, so yeah, just for clarifications, so the flyovers, you'll have a flyover for Oconee and a flyover for Virgil Langford. The flyover for Oconee, it will be open to north and southbound travel once the detour is implemented, but access from 316 eastbound will not be there. So the other ramps for Oconee Connector will be open and access will be available. It's just that eastbound exit ramp to Oconee will not be available during that detour. So they will access those, I guess, Oconee Connector, if you will, coming off of the Jimmy Daniel intersection. And then, again, if they're going northbound, they'll have to go Virgil Langford, which obviously that you have to have that flyover installed and up and running before we do that. So that project, that Virgil Langford overpass project, will be essentially completed at the time the detour is implemented. And then if you're going Oconee Connector southbound via the detour, you'll turn and go to Mars Hill and to the Oconee Connector. So essentially both flyovers, both bridges will be open at the time of the detour and operational. They just won't have the eastbound of 316 to Oconee movement will not be open at that specific location. You'll have to take the detour. I hope this answers the question.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Chris. And looks like we have about 2 minutes left. I don't see any additional comments in the Q&A box, but definitely shoot those to us before we wrap up this evening. So I'm going to ask the producer team if they could. They already did. Read my mind here. So we're just going to kind of break down this virtual meeting platform again. So as we wrap up today, we definitely want to remind you to visit that project website and the interactive virtual meeting room platform. And again, it's an easy search. Transforming State Route 316, scroll down and you'll see the prompts, the icons, and the tabs to enter this room. So once you're on that website, you can refer to the web address that you've seen here today, or use that QR code. Make sure you click to enter the meeting room. That's going to allow you to explore stations that contain important project informational displays, videos, design concepts that Chris and the team have talked about today that we would typically share at an in-person meeting. So once you're inside that virtual meeting room, I would encourage you to check out the welcome station, which is manned by Natalie Dale, who's our statewide GDOT communications spokesperson. She's going to give you a lot of great recommendations on how to navigate this page to make sure you get to the stations you're looking for to get your question answered. So again, all these stations that you'll see on the right side of your screen have great information for Virgil Langford, for Oconee Connector, for right-of-way, environmental, and most importantly, how to leave a comment. So we definitely want to make sure that y'all take advantage of that and share that information with your friends and family. All right. And as a reminder, we're still in the open comment period that runs through July 13th. The website will stay up, so don't worry about it disappearing for any reason, but just the official comment period for feedback on these projects ends on the 13th. So check out that comment station at the virtual meeting room to leave a comment. It's a simple survey, or you can email a comment to p3division@dot.ga.gov, or leave a voicemail at that number that's on your screen. Or even another option is using traditional mail to the mailing address you see there to Mr. Eric Duff. So we want to make sure that we get your feedback. That's very important on any Georgia DOT project. It ensures that we make decisions in consideration of and to the benefit of public needs and preferences. And again, you have until July 13th to submit via the method you see on your screen. And just wrapping up today, I'd like to thank everyone that you've seen on camera, our subject matter experts, and also behind the scenes, the folks that you don't see that did a lot of effort to get this set up and execute this very well today to present these Virgil, Langford, and Oconee connector projects. So hopefully it was beneficial to you, the viewer, and I just want to thank everyone that made this happen, and thank you, the citizens of Oconee County, for tuning in. So y'all make sure to leave us a comment and check out the website.